I really have to get this out there this morning because this burns my ass. So we've all been talking about the House budget plan that passed, the Trump big beautiful turd, which kicks millions of people off of Medicaid, it kicks millions of people off of the child tax credit, it makes the rich richer and the poor poorer, especially by extending and making permanent Trump's tax cuts for billionaires. And while I reported the other day that a lot of Republicans are already saying they don't want to vote for this bill, it really pisses me off that the issues they're choosing are not the important ones. In fact, they're very Republican-like. Because while everyone should be talking about the provision that allows Trump to ignore the judicial branch by hindering the federal courts and the Supreme Court from being able to issue injunctions or being able to hold Trump in contempt, and it also disallows those lower courts from being able to appeal to the Supreme Court, who could make a national injunction. And it retroactively goes back to everything Trump has done, which means anything that the courts blocked him on, he can now freely get away with without being held in contempt or it being enforced. So what are the Republicans so far talking about in the bill today? Some of them, like Rand Paul, are upset that it raises the national debt by $4 trillion. But their answer to this is they want to cut more spending. So take away even more from the people who need assistance, but keep those billionaire tax cuts in there. Might I remind you that I have stated in the past that the cuts to the spending and the benefit programs are a drop in the bucket. We have a revenue problem, which is drastically made up by these tax cuts to billionaires, which is now not bringing in enough money to the government. But the Republicans instead prioritize things like worrying about government spectrum being auctioned off, getting rid of any kind of green energy credits or incentives, because they just want us burning coal for the next 4,000 years. And so far, none of the Republicans are talking about that judicial provision. However, the Democrats are. The Democrats so far are massively pissed about it. And while people have been telling me that they are skeptical of Chuck Schumer is one of the people who has come out against this bill, saying that it blatantly betrays American families. As I pointed out, this completely goes against the Byrd rule because the things in this bill are not all budgetary, which means that if it's challenged, it should require 60 votes, which would never pass. But the Republicans are trying to get it through with reconciliation so that it passes with just a simple majority of 51, which means we would need at least 3 Republican dissenters to say no. Call your senators, tell them to rip these provisions out of the bill, and tell them to defy this bill with every breath they fucking have. I just called them 10 minutes ago. If this bill passes exactly the way it is, not only will it completely destroy American families and increase the massive wealth gap, but it will render a third of our governmental branches, co-equal branches, absolutely powerless. And how ironic is it that the Republicans hope to get this to Trump's desk by July 4th? Because apparently nothing says celebrating our independence from tyranny quite like destroying the judiciary and allowing Trump to be a full-blown fucking tyrant. It makes me so goddamn disgusted.